to one more glass, the weekly wine show that will attempt, and I think that's the operative word in this scenario.
I think so, yeah.
Try to attempt, demystify the world of wine.
Let's hope so. So today, what trips people up?
We're going to be talking about sweetness and dryness. Now,
It sounds easy on the face of things, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean, it seems pretty simple to me.
Sweetness is...
something that tastes sweet, right?
Sugar, yeah, we all like sweets. Right, so we've got 2 wines, haven't we? This is the important bit. In front of us, we've got... Is it okay to say a supermarket Sauvignon Blanc?
Yeah, there are others available.
The Sauvignon Blancs and what we would call a dessert wine, a pudding wine.
Yeah,
so something stereotypically sweet, something labelled as a sweet wine.
Or if you're in Canada, you would call it an ice wine, of course. So hello to our Canadian viewers.
Hi, Canada. Right, so today we're going to have a look at basically what makes wine sweet and what makes wine dry, the difference surrounding that and why it's sort of vaguely important.
So Jack, if we look at the common misconception or the common issue that we're talking about, what would you say it is when it comes to the understanding of what sweetness and dryness is?
So I think a lot of people, and we'll see with the Sauvignon Blanc, they drink a glass and it's fruity, you know, you get that amazing aroma and it hits you with lychees, gooseberries, all that kind of stuff. And you're like, oh, that's a nice sweet fruit.
Yeah.
But the wine itself is dry.
Yeah.
So all we're talking about when we talk about sweetness versus dryness, and this is the key point for anyone, if you order a sweet wine like this, it will have residual sugar. There will quite literally be sugar left in the wine. A dry wine like this one, although it might have big fruity flavours, there will be no residual sugar left.
So the common mistake is when I taste this, it's going to be super fruity, and I'm going to think, or most people think, that means it's a sweet wine, or it's got sweetness, or it's got sugar in it. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. So you're tasting sweet fruit. Let's do it. Let's break it open and see if that.
Am I on my own in this one, or are you joining me?
I'll join you for a little drink. Yeah, why not?
And for the viewers at home, if you've got a bottle of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, feel free to also have a glass with us.
Yeah, give it a go.
And taste along with us and see if you're tasting the same thing, because obviously this is something to be joining in with.
So do you get that? Immediately you smell it, and I think this is why people love New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. You smell it and it just hits you.
Yeah.
There's that massive aroma of delicious, sweet-smelling fruit, and there's no way of getting away from that. It does smell like sweet fruit.
Like passion fruit.
Yeah, passion fruit, lychees.
Yeah, lychees, definitely a characteristic you find very commonly in a lot of these type of wines.
So drinking it, what are you getting now? In your own time?
Really fruity. I mean, really forward on the palate. You know, when I taste it, it's that immediate burst of stone fruit. It's that lychee, a bit of passion fruit as we described.
But then as it hits the sides of your palate, when you actually drink it, how does that feel? How does that translate?
I feel like my saliva glands are going.
Makes you dribble, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah. And does it taste like you've just had a Haribo or something like that?
Yeah, do you know, it's a very, very good point. It almost tastes, it tastes like a bag of Haribo, like you've had one of those sort of Tang Fast Sticks or something like that.
But like the sugar-free version.
Yeah.
You don't get that kind of tongue-coating sweetness. It's not like having treacle or anything like that. It really, it's very clean, it's very crisp.
And also I think now obviously it's probably been, 15, 20 seconds since I finished it. My mouth's actually quite dry. There's nothing residual left over. It feels like...
It's almost flinty and minerally, isn't it?
It's more around those sort of characteristics.
Right.
So with that's obviously a dry white wine. So what, just so the viewers at home understand this, is there any sugar in this wine?
Very little, no.
Okay.
So when we talk about residual sugar in wine, or when we talk about a sweet wine, so it's literally how much sugar is left after the fermentation process. Bit of science here, bit of dorkiness. But when you drink grape juice, if you go down the local supermarket and buy some Welch's grape juice, other brands are available.
Okay, fantastic. Good to know.
Just so you know.
Unless we want to get sponsorship from them, of course.
Yeah, if Welch's are out there are no other brands available. Welch's is #1. But if you were to drink it, it's very sweet. You get that immediate, So there's loads of sugar left in there. And when you press a grape, the juice, if you eat a grape, it's a nice sweet sensation. Yeah. So all grape juice starts out sweet, and then when the yeast goes in, they eat through that sugar, and they turn it into alcohol.
Okay, so let's move on to a wine that's actually got residual sugar and what we would call a sweet wine. Now, maybe just explain to the viewers at home what the difference is between these two wines.
So, in essence, with these, that is a wine in which the yeast has stopped from doing their job. before they consume all the sugar within the winemaker takes the decision to do something to kill the yeast.
Yeah.
So it stops them from eating the sugar, and you're left with a sweet wine. So there is residual sugar from the grape must in there, and it tastes sweet.
So I mean, if the viewers at home have by chance got a bottle of Sauterne, or my same Sauterne because we happen to be drinking a Bordeaux sweet wine, but any other sweet wines will do from any other region. But if you do have one, I mean, on nose for me, I mean, if you want to share a glass, obviously we ran out here, but I mean, immediately the fruit aromas and the characters are different. It's
very different, aren't they?
It's a much more tropical nose, I would say, much more candied. Almost, it feels like, I know obviously you're looking at the colour of it, and obviously the colour of the wine, as you can see, but it has that sort of caramelly, honey,
like
mixed in with tropical sort of fruit aromas.
Treacly, I think, isn't it? Once you actually drink it, it coats your palate in such a way that only sugar can do.
And the viscosity.
Yeah.
So the actual texture of the wine, in comparison to the dry wine, still a little bit heavier.
Look at this. So look at the glass. I don't know if we can get a close up on that. Legs. Everyone talks about legs. So these things running down the sides of the glass.
I mean, that's probably the thing that most beginners will reference.
Yeah.
Does that make it a good quality wine or a bad quality wine? I mean, what can you tell from the leg? Everyone's got their theories on it. But what does it actually mean, Jack? What's it actually showing us?
This in particular is just showing us that it's got residual sugar. So if you think about sugar, it's sticky, sticks to the side of the glass. So more legs, slower moving legs mean more sugar.
And I think it'll be good to try and experiment. And again, this is something that you guys can try at home as well. So we've pre-prepared.
I'm going to give you this. If you don't mind passing me.
Very high production costs in terms of, think of Blue Peter style. Here's a bag of Whitworth's sugar.
Another potential sponsor.
If I was ever going to put sugar in my wine, I would always choose Whitworth's.
Whitworth's, yeah.
Unless someone else wants to sponsor us, and of course there are other brands.
Yeah, available. I mean, if Tate and Lyle are out there and they fancy it, then
they've got slightly higher marketing budgets, so let's keep that in mind. But anyway, let's stop the tomfoolery and get on with the experiments.
Right, so we got a dry wine. We've agreed that this
is a dry wine, very fruity dry wine, New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. And what we're doing here is pouring loads of sugar into it.
How many do you? How do you take your tea? About that?
Well, I'm not a very sweet person, so with loads, please.
Loads of sugar. Give it a swell, just to give it a swell.
Okay, so let's talk through this experiment. What are we trying to prove here?
So all we're doing is adding sugar to a wine. So it's taking a dry wine with fruity flavours and converting it into what is actually a sweet wine. So as we mentioned earlier, residual sugar equals sweetness. So now, I mean, you
are you manufacturing this wine in effect, in a very simplified version?
In a really simplified way, yeah. I think the makers of Amber Vine might be upset if we claim...
But you're not saying to people, if you want to dry a sweet white wine, take this and add sugar?
No.
No, okay. We're still buying this.
We are,
sweet
yeah.
white wine.
So how does it smell and taste now? Oh, rather you than me.
I don't know about this, but anyway, down the hatch.
I bet the texture's quite interesting, isn't it? What are the legs looking like? Grainy.
Oh wow! I mean, you can really, first of all, you can immediately taste the similarities immediately more with the sweet wine, with that added sugar in there, because the flavour characteristic, as you said, is moved away from that fruitiness. So that sweetness flavour, I mean, it's not enjoyable to taste, but
I quite like it.
As a pure experiment, it's amazing to see how it's quickly moved from that flavour to that flavour, much more. So
yeah, and I think the whole wine has changed. The body is different, the viscosity is different. It just feels different in your mouth.
But also, you know, the thing I was talking about before, when I tasted that and I said to you, the finish afterwards was dry, and it felt like, you know, it's chalky minerality. Now, the aftertaste of that is almost more similar to the sweet white wine in terms it's a little bit more cloying. It feels like there's a little bit more residue in my mouth, and actually I'm not getting that stony minerality. I'm still tasting that sort of sweetness and fruity flavour more so than I was before when it was purely without sugar.
You've gone from a sorbet
Yeah.
to an ice cream, back and forth.
Fantastic.
I think that's the best way to look at it. Palate cleanser, palate filler.
Well look, I think this has been a really interesting introduction to sweetness and dryness, and I hope you guys played along at home but also enjoyed it. If you had a good time watching myself and Jack trying to demystify the world of wine, then make sure you follow or subscribe, and of course, if you want to get in touch with us, leave a comment below. Until next time.